My name is Lindsey Scott. I'm a 100% disabled veteran. I'm a mother, a boss, and a political leader. I am the chair of Crawford Dems, and some of them are here today. We love to crash Erie events, can't help it. I am the secretary of the PA Dems Veterans Caucus and the Rural Caucus. I want to give an enormous thank you to all the indivisible groups who are here today hosting these events everywhere in this country. Listen, if you've never heard me speak before, I want to tell you what you're in for. I am crass and off the cuff. I crack some jokes, but my authentic rage is probably my most authentic emotion I own. So, if you're here, you either started to feel it or it's been burning in you for a while. But we're all here, and we need to be here together. We need to organize together. We need to fight upcoming battles together. Some of us will have to actually save each other. Dead ass, full stop. Actually save each other after this government tries to sacrifice us and our way of life. They are systematically destroying, eroding, defunding, and denying departments, traditions, programs, and rights. And because of that, they've got an enemy in Pennsylvania. They will try to sacrifice American life, to sacrifice us for their own personal benefit. The polit bros like J.D. Vance, the tech bros like Elon Musk, the felon Donald Trump, weak-willed creeps like Marco Rubio, and my new personal favorite that I love to throw my hater-aid on, Mr. Whiskey Leaks himself, the G.I. Joke, the DUI hired, the worst Secretary Pete that could ever be, Pete Hegseth.
Throw him out, lock him up.
This administration is filled with the most immoral and amoral that could ever hold these jobs, but it's not just the administration. It is the cage of useful idiots that they have in the U.S. Republican Senate and legislature, the state houses and senates, where alt-right freak shows also sit on our public school boards when they don't even believe in public education. They are the conniving federal judges, certain state Supreme Court judges, and the starry, decisive, non-believer U.S. Supreme Court. So, a little bit about me and then what we're going to lose, because this is awful. I joined the Army when I was 18 years old, right after 9/11, and I would deploy at the age of 19 for 548 days to Baghdad. I became one of the people that was crushed under the needs of the Army. And I got to stand in the not removable hands of my abuser for those 548 days. When Joe Biden became president, I filed for disability through the VA system for PTSD and multiple sclerosis, and I won. I had a lawyer and I had my damning health records. I won my disability pension, and I won't have to live my life in fear of my disease ravaging my body and my family's finances. So, in this last administration, the PACT Act passed, and almost 1.6 million veterans that never had received coverage received coverage. Just to make it personal, you know, Joe Biden had a horrific loss himself, the death of his son, Beau, from combat-related cancer that John McCain also died of. Veterans health care was imperative to him. And the expansion and passage of the PACT Act from all of the Democrats, just so you know, gave more health care, more financial benefits, and mental health invested in the system than they've ever seen. The cancers, the neurological illnesses, immune disease covered. The mental health care that the PACT Act was able to assist with, the number of counselors and psychologists that are helping veterans who can be at home, on the phone, on video, and not have to travel 2 hours to the nearest VA for a counseling appointment. During the Trump administration, there were veterans who never got their care, were on the wait list for 4 months, and would, frankly, kill themselves in VA parking lots. And people don't understand, many people, you all do, what kind of ravages that happens for our veterans. To lose the proposed 90,000 jobs in the VA will slow down all veterans' abilities to fix their benefits, get their benefits, and receive health care. The cuts, not just in the VA themselves, but in the federal government, more than 30% of those federal employees are veterans. Just yesterday, they stopped funding a literal program that helps give loans to veterans to keep their homes. I thought they cared whether or not veterans were on the street. I guess not. So, I want to take it back just a second and bring up women. In the 90-day independent review commission that the Biden-Harris administration created, headed up by the Senate committee with Senator Gillibrand, the IRC discovered that military sexual trauma on men and women both were at the highest reported ever. 50% of women per year were reported to have been sexually harassed when asked anonymously. The report showed the data correlation between military leadership that is toxic had a direct correlation to incidents of harassment and assault. Assault rates were a 10-year low from 2014 to 2016, but by 2018, it had skyrocketed, an increase of 44% against women. Sexual violence increased 44% from 2016 to 2018. What changed? Leadership changed, right? Service members who report sexual assault never systematically receive justice. They are typically further victimized by that system. They used to be forcibly removed from their military under psychiatric needs and medical chapter removal. They were forced to transfer to other military units. And frankly, whether or not anything was investigated was at the whims of their commander. Commanders of any unit, whether or not, to decide whether or not to go after the perpetrator. And often these commanders chose to penalize the victim. So, during the Biden-Harris administration, for the first time since 1950, they changed the Uniform Code of Military Justice. They made sexual harassment a crime for the first time.
Yeah.
It included provisions about child abuse, domestic abuse, stalking in marriages, relationships, and it addressed revenge porn. It changed and removed the authority from commanders to an independent assessment where people could receive justice. So, I've got to say, when Democrats have been in charge, we've made progress, right? Did we get everything we wanted? No. But this stuff takes time. But it's backsliding so dramatically. It's disgusting and disturbing. And to have people like Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth in charge of systems of authority like this is an implicit allowance for other leaders to do the same. And it's happening. So, I have to say, as veterans, we're here because we want to protect the Constitution, we want our rights, we want to protect literally everything we have. So that requires some stuff. There's a call to action with this, because I couldn't get away from here without doing that, right? So we have to fight back against this authoritarianism. We are ruled by that Constitution, not gods, not kings, not ever. The cage of useful idiots we're talking about, that fight against them, that starts right now. There might not be federal elections this year, or state row offices, but for us there are school boards, city councils, county treasurers, and I think Erie's got a county executive race. That's what I hear, right? So we have to say that when they're taking our rights, when they're taking our freedoms, we have to remind them that they've got an enemy in Pennsylvania. Can you say it with me one time? They've got an enemy in Pennsylvania.